What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Been really busy lately. I've had a lot going on. The weather really hasn't been cooperating. It's been pretty nasty outside. If it hasn't been windy, it's been rainy. If it's not rainy, it's snowing. But I did have some plans for this weekend. I was actually gonna load some logs in my buddy's trailer. He's got a bunch of cut logs that he needed loaded in his dump trailer, but he scratched that idea because we had some snow rolling last night. It's not a whole lot, I'll show you guys. As you guys can see, it's not a whole lot of snow. It's mainly just kind of blowing around. Like I said, really not worth getting the plow out or the push box out. Not to mention, it was just really warm all week, so this ground is not frozen at all. So that's why I haven't been doing any plow videos. But yeah, I've just been kind of waiting for this weather to kind of wind down and start warming up. Been really waiting for the yard to dry up. I want to get back there so bad. I want to get out there with the stump bucket again, the bucket, and my grapple, get some yard work done. I've got a lot to do out back this year, so I've got some plans and whatnot for things for us to do. And I've got a lot more side jobs coming as well in the spring and summer, and some equipment that I'd like to buy as well. And I did mention to you guys that I want to build a new garage. I did call a couple companies, starting to get some prices worked out, so hopefully we'll have something, you know, coming together here soon. I've got a couple companies that I'm calling where they build the entire garage themselves. You tell them basically the exact dimensions that you want. Length, width, and height. Tell them how many bay doors you want, how many man doors you want, and you can pick the color and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with this company. They're trying to get some quotes thrown together for me so I can figure out exactly what it's going to cost me. And then what they require is a level pad. So what I'll do is I'll use my Kubota BX and we'll build a nice little pad for the garage to sit on. It's got to be nice and level. Once it's level and I have it all situated for them, they will come out here with the garage that they custom built for me and they will assemble it all in like a day. So that's the company I'm probably going to go with. I don't want to mention any names. There is a couple companies that I'm talking to right now and getting some quotes with. Both companies also do financing, which is great. So hoping I can get that garage set up this summer and we will have a lot more to do, especially in the winter. I mean, I've got equipment laying all over the place. I've got boxes and stuff that I still haven't even gone through. When I first bought this house, the shed was actually out back. And I've explained this before, I dragged this shed up here. It was way out back and I dragged it up the hill. And this is where I put it because now it's close to the house and I was able to work out of here. And the shed really did a great job for a long time. And I just kind of outgrown it over the years between, you know, adding tools and equipment and everything else to it. I do have a storage shed that's out back and that's also packed, so a garage is very well needed. And once I get one, I'll be able to do a lot more videos, especially in the winter when the weather is not, you know, the greatest and the weather is just cold and blowing like this. You know, if I'm not making a plow video, there's not a whole lot you can really do. So that garage is going to be a huge help. It's going to be really nice for the channel and it's going to allow me to do a lot of like different fabrication videos, different maintenance videos, install videos, and actually have the room to do it and to give you guys better quality videos as well. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of update and let you know I didn't forget about you. I am out here today to install Tony's grill guard because I was looking for something to do. Seen Tony's grill guard sitting over there on the floor. He sent this to me around Christmas time. It's actually in really nice shape. Tony G is a subscriber of mine, so he sent that to me as a Christmas gift. This came off of his tractor. He ended up buying a different grill guard for his. Maybe he'll chime down in the comments and explain to you guys which grill guard he got. I'll let him do that. I was going to modify this and I still plan to, but again, with my garage being so tight, I want to wait till I get my garage. There's a lot of plans I actually have of things I want to do or build, but I'm going to wait till I get the new garage just so I can have some room to do it and actually make good videos doing it. So for now, I'm going to leave it stock and we're going to get this thing thrown on. So that is the plan today. And I also want to go over a couple things that people have been asking me on the tractor. So we'll do that as well and just kind of make this like a little update video or catch-up video for you guys. So hopefully by next weekend, I think this weather is supposed to go away. It's going to be like 50 or 55 degrees on Monday, and I think that weather's supposed to stay now for a while. So let's go ahead and get going on the grill guard. I'm going to start the tractor up. We'll get this loader lifted up in the air so we can work on it, and I'll explain to you guys how this thing goes on there and what I plan to do to remove the hood bonnet because the grill guard will be in the way. All right, guys, so we've got the loader up in the air so we can get under here and work. First thing we're gonna have to do here is remove the receiver hitch that I have on the front. Now, this hitch I bought when I first got this tractor. This is actually the very first mod I ever did to it. I bought this on eBay for like 50 bucks. They were really easy to make. I didn't have a welder at the time, so for 50 bucks, I figured I'm just gonna buy it because I knew I needed it. Because when I bought this tractor, it did not have a loader, so I was looking to get as much functionality out of it as I could, knowing that I could put a receiver in this and move a trailer around or put a winch on the front, which I had made a winch for this that slides in here and plugs into this plug right here, and it works really well for a good tie down point. So I definitely don't want to lose this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this, and I'm gonna end up bolting it on the front of the grill guard when we put the grill guard back on. I will need some longer bolts. I have 1-inch bolts in there right now. So right here I've got some 1.5-inch grade 8 bolts. So we're gonna be replacing those with these. Obviously I could use all the same hardware, the nuts and washers. I've just got nylon nuts on the back side here. So we'll go ahead and reuse the hardware. So let's go ahead and get this thing zipped off. I've got a 3/4-inch socket and wrench. All right, so as you guys can see, this is what the receiver hitch looks like. This is the one that they always sell on eBay for like 50 bucks. It does come with like a little receiver mount to move trailers around with. Pretty decently built. I mean, I've never bent it, which, you know, that's saying something, but it's not overly thick. I mean, this is only 1/8-inch plate steel right here. We've got a little loop right here. This looks like it's 1/2 inch. And you've got your 2-inch square tubing right here. Really not hard to build. Like I said, I would have definitely built my own if I had what I had now. Now we can go ahead and mount the grill guard up. Always wanted a grill guard. I just felt like it was always going to be in my way every time I took this hood bonnet off. Now I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue anytime I got to do maintenance and get that hood bonnet off. All right, let's go ahead and tighten this thing up and step back and see what it looks like. All right, guys, well, we've got the grill guard all mounted up. You can see how much better that looks. I actually like it a lot. I think it's gonna make a big difference in the work that I do because I was always smashing the front end. I was always getting sticks up in my grill. Definitely was going to end up smashing it at some point. I mean, my hood bonnet is already all screwed up, as you can see. I mean, all the mounts are broken. It just pretty much just sits in there. So maybe the grill guard will actually keep it in place a little bit better now. It's got cracks all over it. You can see down here it's split. It's cracked right here. Just in really bad shape from all the abuse that I've given this thing all the years. Plus the plastic that Kubota uses on it. Not really impressed with it. After a while, it gets brittle and dry, and that is why they got rid of the plastic in the BX50 series and went back to metal in the BX60 series because it was just a disaster. They had warranty claims like crazy, and the tractors are basically just chipping away and falling apart. So definitely glad they made a good move here going back to metal. Kind of wish the hood bonnet itself was metal as well. But if they just made it out of a better plastic, it would be fine. Something like, don't want to say it, but the John Deere plastic, that is a good plastic. That's almost like a Tupperware. You really can't break that stuff. It just flexes. So now that that's on there, I will show you guys how you can remove the hood bonnet with a grill guard on there. Because typically what you have to do, as it shows you in the manual, you'd have to remove the grill guard every single time you wanted to slide this hood bonnet out because you need to slide the hood bonnet forward to get it up out of there. And the reason I never did put a grill guard on it is because of that. Also with me having this receiver hitch right here, it's just one more thing to have to play around with. As you see when I put it on, it was just a little bit more time consuming to do, having to fish the bolts through both pieces when I mounted it. So I couldn't imagine doing that every single time I wanted to pull the hood bonnet off to make my life a little bit easier to just do general maintenance on my tractor. So let me get the camera set up and I'll show you guys how to get that hood bonnet off right now. All right, guys, so now we got the loader down and the hood open. Now I'm going to show you guys how to remove the hood bonnet without actually removing the grill guard. So your first step is going to be to remove your headlight bulbs from your bezels here. So you can go ahead and just twist these. Some people unplug them, but I find it easier just to twist them and just pull them out. So you're going to twist it and then you're going to pull it out. So the harness that your headlight bulbs are going to, there will be a little push clip. And you'll see that right here. What you want to do is go ahead and grab on the other side of the clip. You could use a pair of pliers or a screwdriver and just kind of pry it from the back side, and you'll see it comes right out just like that. And when you want to put it back in, you can just go ahead and push it back through that hole. So now that we've got the harness disconnected, go ahead and take it and just hang it over the front side here closer to the motor. So now that that's out of the way, our next step is going to be to remove the 4 nuts that come through off these studs here. 2 on this side and then another 2, 1 here and 1 here. So we're gonna go ahead and remove all 4 of those, and then once we do, we should be able to pop this hood and just pick it right up out of the way and set it down on the ground. Now these nuts, they're just a 12mm, so I got a 12mm socket on my impact gun here. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and grab a hold of the hood. I'm gonna lift straight up, lifting it right off of those studs, and we can get it out of the way. All right, guys, so now we got the hood completely out of the way. You can see everything is opened right up now for us. You guys can see just how bad my mounts are. I mean, they're non-existent. This side here is just hanging on by like an 1/8 inch. I've got these huge fender washers, and I've always tried to stretch and pull it over. This one used to stay until it broke again, and now this side is just completely loose. You could just see there's not much holding that hood bonnet on anymore, but it does still stay in place, even though it vibrates. So when my engine runs, people ask me, well, like, what's that noise, that vibration? That is what it is. It's just hood bonnet vibrates like crazy. Once I get a new hood bonnet, that should go away. So now that we're at this point right here, you can see we've got lots of room to get in here at the engine. You go ahead and crack both of your hold downs for your hood bonnet loose. Now we've got that done. What you're gonna wanna do is pull the hood bonnet back so that it's out of the rear mounts in the back here. So once you know that the back is out of the rear mounts, just like that. Now what you're gonna wanna do is grab both hands, one on each side of the hood bonnet, and you're gonna wanna flex it open and pull it straight up and out. So I'm gonna demonstrate this real quick for you guys, just in case anybody does have a grill guard and they're tired of removing the 4 bolts in the front every time just to take the thing off. All right, so hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I've got you guys set up on the roof of the cab. So what you want to do, like I said, is kind of pull it forward and make sure the front mounts are loose. So you're going to want to flex and open up this hood bonnet. And as you do, just kind of shake it forward. And just like that, you can pull it right on out of there. All right, guys, so with all that out of the way, we've got the hood and the hood bonnet off. You guys can see just how easy it is now to work on this tractor with very, very little time. I mean, this took me less than 5 minutes, and I was recording it. If I wasn't recording this and I had done this multiple times, I could probably do it in like a minute. And now, as you can see, we've got full access to anything we need to work on, especially if I had the loader up in the air, you'd be able to get to anything on this. And I really like that because if I'm doing maintenance on it, the hood has always gotten in my way. It always has a big shadow over the engine bay, and my lights are directly over the hood. And most people do have lighting directly above their tractor. And when that happens, the hood just creates a big shadow over the entire engine, and you always got to have a light underneath the hood. I just feel like this is a much better way to work on it. It's much easier to see what you're doing. So I figured since we're installing this grill guard today, I would show you guys how to do that. It's a nice little tip, definitely a nice little trick to have when working on this thing. And if you really got to do something with the engine a little bit more serious, you can definitely get in there a little bit easier. But even for like an oil change and stuff, you could at least get the funnel in there without it hitting the top of the hood or being blocked with your oil jug when you go to pour it into the funnel. So I just think it's a way better way. I actually learned this trick from Tractor Tech channel. I saw that video and I said, man, that's a really good video. I'm going to show that on my channel when I put my front grill guard on. So I will link his video right here of him showing you the same exact process. I think this video is like 2 years old or something like that, but I came across it and I thought it was a fantastic idea. I have had my hood off before, but I never took it off of these studs right here because I always thought that these were bolts. I thought I would have to get underneath them to hold them with a wrench, so I never actually took it off from there. What I would end up doing when I took the hood off is I would end up taking out the long bolt that actually goes on the hood hinge itself that makes it pivot. So that bracket with the shock and all that would stay on there. That's how I did it, and it was always kind of a pain. So once I seen this on his channel, I said, man, I got to try that out and show my subscribers. So hopefully you guys will get something from that, and it'll be useful for you guys who have a grill guard. So let me go ahead and get this tractor thrown back together. I want to go over a couple more things that you guys that I've been getting questions for in the comments, and then we'll end this video. All right, guys, I've got it all back together. One thing I noticed when putting it back together, it was so much easier to put that hood bonnet on, because anybody that owns one of these older Kubota BXs with these hood bonnets knows that it's hard to get the slots lined up, these little tabs, with the steering wheel column so that it'll hold itself in place. It's very hard to see what you're doing when the hood is in the way. Also, there is a strap, like a limiter strap, that keeps the hood in a certain position so that the hood bonnet will slide in place. None of that is an issue when you put it back together. Because the hood is out of the way, you just drop the hood bonnet in. I could actually see exactly where I was putting those tabs, slid them right into place, tighten my knob down, drop the hood onto the studs, tighten my 4 bolts with my impact gun, and shut the hood. I mean, it was that simple. I honestly think it took me less than a minute to put this back together, and I kid you guys not. A couple things I wanted to say before I get into some of the questions I've been getting asked on YouTube. As you can see, my hydraulic hoses coming out for my third function are pretty close to the front grill guard. So for anybody who's putting the grill guard on their tractor, make sure if you have a third function that it's not going to rub. Mine is not rubbing, but it's really close. But that isn't going to be a problem because I'm actually getting rid of these 2 couplers on the front of this, and I'm going to be doing that very soon in an upcoming video. So you guys will see that, but this right here will be gone. Another thing I want to mention is for anybody who does have an 80 series loader on a 70 series machine like I do, just keep note that this grill guard was not made to go with this loader. And I say that because even though these loaders are like the same between the 80 series and the series before it, the 80 series has this quick park mechanism right here, and as you can see, it hangs much lower than the cross member. So because of that, it's pretty close to the grill guard, but I do not think it's going to hit. I've always had this hitch on the front, and it's never hit that, and it's always been close to that, and that sticks out farther than the grill guard itself. So if it's never hit the hitch, I don't think it's going to hit the grill guard. But I will keep you guys posted if it does, and if it does, I'll have to come up with a solution so I don't have to remove the grill guard. So I just want to say a special thanks to Tony G. Thank you for sending that to me for a Christmas present, man. It's awesome, and I actually really like the fact that it's used because so is my tractor, and it really blends right in. It looks perfect. It really looks like it was put on the machine when it was new. So I'm really happy about it. Looks awesome. Thank you, Tony. So now we've got all that out of the way. I've had some viewer questions. One of the questions was about my winch setup. I have a winch for the front of this tractor that I mentioned in the very beginning of my YouTube channel. So this is the winch for my tractor. I built it for the tractor. This right here is the original receiver that came in that hitch. So this came with it when I bought it for 50 bucks on eBay. And what I did was I drilled some holes in it with a drill press, and I mounted this winch to it. So now whenever I need this winch, I just slide it into the hitch. I've got my little plug connector here. It's actually a plow connector. I go ahead and plug that in, and I have a winch set up on my tractor. The controller is actually on the inside of my cab. You can see it. It's sitting right there. So whenever I plug it in, that controller will be active and I could use it. But lately, more and more people have been watching that video, and it is a really old video, but maybe it's starting to get to where the views are hitting a certain number and more people are seeing it, or just more people are starting to want to put winches on their tractors. But I've been getting some questions, and one of them being, can I keep the winch on the tractor with the loader on? I can keep it on the tractor with the loader on, but the problem is if you lower the loader too far, it will hit the winch. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, if you want to mount it up and use it real quick, you could just lift your loader up and leave it in the air, or leave it a little bit higher than the winch, and you won't have a problem. You could use it and then remove it when you're done. But if you want to leave it actually on the tractor, I don't think you're going to have enough room here with this cross member in the way, unless you come up with some special bracket to offset it down lower so that it's not going to be interfering with that cross member. The other question I was getting was, when I use the winch, do I keep the tractor in neutral? Do I press on the brake, or do I just use the hydrostatic pedal? Typically when I use my winch, I just keep my foot on the brake, or I set the e-brake on the tractor, and that way you're not putting any of that winch load on the hydrostatic transmission itself. So I'll usually do that unless I have to back up while I'm winching, and if I do, I will just remove the e-brake and use the hydrostatic transmission in low to back up and pull whatever I need to out of the woods. Winches are really great for choking logs and dragging them out. Normally you'd have to drive the tractor pretty close into the woods, but with a winch and 50 foot of cable, you could run it way into the woods, keep your tractor out of the woods, and then just hit the button on a winch and pull the log right out of the woods without ever having to bring your tractor into the woods. So winches are really nice for that. So another question I've been getting is about my rear remotes. So with my rear remotes, I've been getting asked how come I use the two lower spots. They're wondering if maybe there's a specific reason I'd use my lower ones versus the two upper ones, and if it mattered which couplers you use on a rear remote kit. The reason I used the lower couplers was so that I had to make less hose. So that was my main reason. As you can see here, I wanted to keep my hoses nice and short. The shorter you keep them, the less interference you're gonna have or having something snag on them. So I basically just used the lower ones so I can keep the hoses short. So that was that reason. As far as doesn't matter what couplers you use, yes and no. You could use the top two or the bottom two independently. The only thing you gotta remember is you cannot use like the top port with the very bottom port, or the second middle port with the lower middle port, because if you do that, you're working two different valves. These two bottom couplers are on their own valve, and these two top couplers are on their own valve. So you want to make sure that whatever you're hooking to it, if it's a single cylinder, you want to make sure you're staying within that one valve so that you're not mixing these up and trying to force something through and trying to activate the hydraulics where it's just not going to go. So that is something to note that I didn't talk about when I did this rear remote kit install. And if you guys didn't see that video, I will link that one right here as well. So that is something I just want to clarify for guys that don't really know much about hydraulics or how these rear remote kits work. The reason you want these is a lot of people like them for a top and tilt kit so that you can put a hydraulic cylinder on your top link, and then you could have a hydraulic cylinder here for a tilt cylinder, and then that way you're not jumping on and off the machine to manually adjust it every time you're using like a grater blade, especially for like land planes and stuff. These are really nice to have. I do plan on getting a second cylinder still so I can have a top and tilt, because right now I only have a top cylinder. That's mainly what it's used for on these smaller tractors. Another thing it'd be used for is maybe like a log splitter or maybe a stump grinder, one of those stump grinders that actually need a function to go left and right, so you'd want to use a set of these ports for that. So there's all kinds of different uses for the rear remotes. It's just nice to have, and for the price of them, I think they're like 550 bucks. It's a smoking deal for these tractors to have an actual Kubota built product that fits perfectly and cleanly onto your tractor. If you follow my install video, you guys shouldn't have much trouble actually installing this yourself as well. So yeah, those are the two things I want to talk about. And you guys know that if you guys ever have any questions, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments below. You guys know I'm pretty good about answering you guys, so if you guys ever have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. Like I said, I've got a lot of plans coming up this spring, just waiting for the weather to warm up, so as soon as it does, you guys will see me out there working the tractor, and hopefully at some point using some new equipment as well. So anyways, I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.